Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, if you've been here before, hello. I know I said I was gonna be posting weekly. I lied. I didn't lie. I got a lot going on. But my dreams of being an aspiring YouTuber are still definitely, the passion's still there. Passion. Cheers to the passion. Okay, so basically, I called out of work today. I didn't call out. So I have 3 jobs. I'm a yoga instructor at 2 locations, totaling at 7 classes per week, and I'm also a waitress while I'm finishing massage therapy school. So that's 20 hours in school. I'm a busy gal. Sorry, I know I'm being really goofy. I'm happier than I've been. Also, I'm drinking a glass of wine. I'm 23, I'm allowed to. As you can see, things are a little bit more put together now. You can't see, I don't know why I just said that, but I got this really funky dream catcher. Damari bought it for us, me. I really wanted it, and he was just like, buy it, and he really pulled the trigger on that one like a G. So, and I would love to be centered right underneath of it, but I have a 100-pound German Shepherd right next to me, taking up 75% of the couch. After that long 2-minute intro and talking about myself, hi, welcome to this video. I'm gonna be talking more about myself. Today's video is something I've been wanting to do. It's because I don't even know if I want to tell you what it is yet. Let me just like preface it. So I've been wanting to do this video because I feel it's something that a lot of us in our yoga journey go through and experience but don't really talk about. I want to talk about my journey to truly committing to my practice. Kind of like the journey to getting into yoga, but like what really set me off and like truly committing to my practice personally. But I also feel like a lot of people go through like this like back and forth with yoga until like something happens that really commits them to their practice, because it's hard to commit to the practice. Yeah, this is my story. All right, I'm just gonna go. In high school, so I was in high school from 2010 to 2014. This is like, high school is when you kind of start finding like yourself. Like it's like the foundation of the self. You start finding your interests. You start to realize what kind of people you like to hang around. And again, there's always like, you know, nothing's forever, but I feel like in high school is where like we're fresh out of puberty. Like we finally come at least into our own bodies, and like we're ready to like kind of start finding our thing, like whether it be sports or, you know, video games and whatever, you know what I mean. So in high school is when I truly started to find my kind of what I liked. I really enjoyed working out and being physically active. It was something I needed. It was something I've always grown up with. My whole life I've played sports. Since I was 5 years old, I started cheerleading and then just pretty much did every sport under the sun up until I graduated from high school, right? Once I graduated from high school, I got into like hooping and yoga. So like physical activity is very important for me. So I needed people like that in my life, and I knew that. I also had an issue and like, you know, with weed. And you know, weed is legal, not where I live, but weed is legal in other places. And I hope one day that I can move to a place where it's legal, because, and personally for me, in moderation, and Lord, with knowing what I'm buying from actual distributors instead of buying street weed, I could actually truly medicate myself in a healthy way, in a moderated way. You know, not like smoking 3.5 grams of weed in a day. Like, that was me in high school, okay? Just like bear with me on this for a second, all right? Because of that and not smoking, not only was my weed not moderated by like what strain I was smoking, I was just smoking it all the time. So it created really lazy habits, a lazy life. I wasn't smoking it. First it became a way to self-cope, and then it just, beyond that, became like a habit. It was like smoking cigarettes. Like, I'm sitting around, I'm bored, I'll take a bong rip, you know? It's almost lunchtime, you know what I need to do before I eat lunch? Take a bong rip, you know? Like, it just became like that. So I in high school, I picked up really lazy tendencies that I think as I got older kind of melted away. The habits that kind of were rooted in that followed me. That comes together nicely. And on top of that, and I was just talking to Damari about this the other day, I am horribly an instant gratification type person. Anything you do, anything you put your energy towards, even if it's just breathing, like you expect instant gratification. Like one of the reasons, another great example, reasons why I couldn't do a 4-year university is because that isn't quick enough. Like, I'm in a massage therapy program right now that's 10 months. I'm in the 8th month now, and I'm struggling. The thing that's really kept me in it is the fact that most of the things from massage therapy, I've been able to apply to my personal yoga practice and my teachings. So it's been really helpful along the way. But within the past 4 weeks, I am so tired. I hate this. I'm not practicing. This isn't quick enough. There's just nothing here yet. You know what I mean? Instant gratification. Yeah. Have I been saying that right? Anyways, I just always needed those immediate results. That's just who I am. And I know a lot of people are like that too. Like, it's just how I am, and it's a blessing and a curse. Like, it really jumpstarts you and really keeps you driven, but only for so long till you burn yourself out. And that's that. And there's the tea. With something like yoga that has to do with your body, and now that I've learned so much more about the body and massage therapy, like, this is a delicate vessel on so many levels that we are maneuvering right now. And with yoga, like, you cannot expect those immediate results. And on top of the fact, you can't expect immediate results when you're lazy. You just can't. It just makes no sense. Yoga journey. I got into yoga. I had taken a few yoga classes maybe in high school at a gym. Mostly got into it after high school. After I had dropped out of university at Radford, came home, I don't know, I think Instagram, honestly, when it ever comes to anything I do, social media is a huge part of that. Seriously, thank God for social media, because I probably wouldn't have, who knows, I probably wouldn't be hooping. I probably would have no idea how to hoop. All these things I've seen on social media have been an inspiration to me. So thanks guys for that. And that's why I'm here too. Side note, that's why I'm here, because social media has influenced me in such a positive way. I want to do that for others too. I want to give back to the community that helped me out. So I saw it on Instagram. This is the issue. Here it is. I saw yoga on social media. I realized what it was doing for other people. I started following other yogis that posted their life on there, that were a little bit more open, beyond their yoga practice, and really saw how yoga affected them as people in society, in their community. And that was something I totally wanted to do and be a part of, on top of the fact that I need to be active. I know, by the time I was 18, after a year of not playing volleyball, I was I need to move. So already knowing that, I was oh, yoga will be perfect, you know? With that being said, I'm very competitive. For someone who's been playing sports their whole life, that pretty much turns into your DNA. I was an extremely competitive person, and that was my biggest hump to overcome. It took a year of even being committed to my practice to fully let go of that competitiveness within me. For some it might be easier, for some it might be harder, but for me it took about a year. And I would be in a yoga class, and first, foremost, I was competing with everyone in the room. I was always looking at other people's mats. I was even looking at the teacher, and this is all very subconscious. I wouldn't walk into a yoga class and be all right, I'm gonna outdo all you bitches. No. It was very subconscious. It was an energy that came forth in a very weird, subtle way, to where I didn't know this was the problem for a long time. But basically, subconsciously, I would walk into a class, and I would walk in consciously being I'm gonna get my yoga on, I'm gonna feel so good, I'm gonna become a great yogi. Also, preface that, that's not very present of you, is it? Past Jordan, no, it's not. Get present, ho. Yes, so I would walk into a class thinking I was there for myself, and then as soon as we would get into the first pose, it was a constant whose spine can get higher, whose downward dog can be deeper, which I know now, after being a yoga teacher for almost a year and being in massage therapy school, that when you strain yourself like that, your muscles just get tighter, you see. And therefore, not only are you not stretching yourself out for the day, there's no way you can grow towards being more flexible if you go into a yoga class constricting your muscles like that, okay? Just saying. After a while, after, you know, of course, putting it down and picking it back up, there were so many times where I would go to a yoga class, like 3-4 times a week for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I would stop because my subconscious wasn't getting that gratification of being the best one in the room. So I felt like shit afterwards and not good afterwards, right? Making sense? Dots connecting on my tipsy rants. The guy who trained me to be a teacher, I had met him at American Family, not in a yoga class. I was working at the smoothie bar. I made protein shakes. And he noticed my dreadlocks I was forming, and that's how he came and started talking to me. And our relationship is what really got me to want to take teacher training, whether I was going to become a teacher or not. And this is for everyone. Like, whether you want to be a teacher or not, take a teacher training. Like, you expand your personal practice so much more. Invest the money in a teacher training. The prices vary from different yoga studios. Go to the studios, tour them, talk to whoever will be doing your teacher training. Expand your practice, please. Like, so that's why I did it. And also, I thought it would be cool to teach. I always wanted to be a teacher. In high school, what I went to Radford for was I wanted to be a science teacher. So, like, for me, it was like, I really can't lose here. Like, I either killed one bird with a stone or I killed 2 of them. So my teacher training was a beautiful experience. It brought me in a community of people who were all striving towards the same thing as me, which later on, by the end of our program, we realized that, like, there's never an end goal, but we all just wanted to be immersed in that same thing. And my ego was able to finally start getting shaved down. I would say by the end of my teacher training in 2017, I was trying to learn. Every pose for me was a way to analyze the body and a way for me to break down what parts are being worked where, and like what my alignment. My yoga teacher, Jay, shout out Jay, huge alignment snob, but I thank him for that. Huge alignment snob. So that's kind of where my mind was at, but that allowed me to turn inwards, you see. I wasn't focusing on anyone else. I was turning inwards, which therefore led to this. And that's why I say shave the surface of my competitiveness, because that competitiveness turned inwards. So now every time I was going, after my teacher training, I would go into a yoga class and I would compete with myself. Like, again, forcing myself into poses that, like, my body, my poor vessel was not ready for. And like, you know, I laugh at this now. I'm thankful for all of this now, because it all led me to these reflections of myself. You know, those moments where you reflect on who you are and where your drive and passion comes from. It really makes you think. So I'm so grateful for all of this. But this competitiveness towards myself kind of led to like this debilitating thing. And on top of the fact that, like, if you're not in a good place in your life, you can't give anything your whole heart to. I was working a very toxic job while I was in teacher training, and for 7 or 8 months after I got out of teacher training, I was in a very toxic job that really took a lot of my energy. For those of you that have not been here before, I was in in-home support for a child with autism. He was nonverbal, he was violent. That's really draining. So much, especially when I cared about him so much too, and that was a lot of it too. So when you're not in the space to make these changes, to have these observations, it's going to take a longer time. Like, that's just, you know, water's wet, you know, the sky is blue. And I think that is the biggest part for most of us in our yoga journey. And I'm not trying to deter you either, or you know, like, intimidate you that your yoga journey is going to be like this whole uphill battle. It's going to last 2 years. No. This is just my personal experience that I feel like a lot of people go through in a lot of different, like, moderations and levels. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is a lot, I know. I just wanted to share with you guys that the most beautiful thing you can do for your practice or in anything that you do in life, whatever you're passionate for. It doesn't have to be your practice. If it's charged by ego, consciously or subconsciously, it's gonna be an uphill battle, and most likely a failure too, because there's no heart in it. There's no soul. The ego lives in the mind. The soul lives in the heart. To surrender to your practice, like, that's the way I describe it. The day, or like the time period, which is probably about 7 months ago, probably beginning of this year, where I truly surrendered to my practice, was there's no words. I just hope all of you just saw my crown chakra explode. But for real, there's no words. It's the most freeing thing to not be that way. And now that I am this way, it seems so simple. But when you have this competitive, like, DNA, because my dad was a huge athlete back in Connecticut. He was one of those guys that blew out his knee. I'm not even joking. Like, he blew out his knee. He could have gone pro, but he blew out his knee. I swear it's in my DNA. Like, it's just that, I just want to win. I just want to be the best. And, like, that's good to have, but save that for an aspect of your life that needs it, because yoga is not that space. I'm telling you now. That I can say, like, 100%. Yoga is not the space for ego. Just saying. But which is great, because that way it gives you a space where you don't have to rely on ego and stuff like that. Sorry, my dryer made a weird noise, and I deadass thought someone was coming into my apartment right now. And yeah, I don't know. Now it's August. It's 2019, which is crazy. I'm coming up on 2 years being certified. Almost in October, it'll be a year of me teaching in, like, a studio, which is, like, classes where people don't know me, not like donation based, which is, like, nuts. And I have grown so much through my practice. I've cried tears that needed to be shed for reasons I don't even know why, but they needed to flow, baby. Trust me. It came like they've been in there for, God, years, lifetimes. Like, oh my gosh. I've learned to not be so competitive. Losing the competitiveness in my yoga practice brought revelation to, again, like I said earlier, where ego needed to be, where it needed to exist. And I tell my students this all the time, where ego in the mind and the self in the soul, they're a duo. One cannot exist without the other. So one is not right nor wrong. They just each have their place. Sorry, I ran out of storage. Anyways, they each have their place. And that's kind of the fun part of life, is kind of discovering where one fits, where you need two, where you only need one. With yoga, I needed to just surrender to my practice. I needed to let my soul do the work instead of consistently letting the ego control my practice and deterring me from yoga. I had tried committing to my practice 2 or 3 times before I got into teacher training, and after teacher training, so 2018 was the first year where I truly committed to my practice. But it's also the process. So I don't know, take what you will about the ego and the self, because both are necessary. But how we apply those things just takes practice, dude. They teach us how to do fractions, and they teach us about world history and US history all through school. The worst part, over and over and over again, but they don't teach us emotional intelligence. Something I think our generation, since millennials and forward, we're really into and really responsive to emotional intelligence. Something they don't talk about in school. Like, you have to be admitted, like I was, into a hospital to even address the depression that you probably have. It's simple once you recognize the tools you're working with. I didn't know what ego was for a long time, said the Leo. Clink. But for real, and I didn't really know what the self was for a long time either, but once I was able to put those two beings of what create this thing of flesh and hair and mush cells, like, it all starts to make sense. And I'm telling you this from someone who's 23. Being young, and I was just talking, I'm at ECPI University. My career advisor is 24. So she's my age, If you're around our age, she's our age. And in a professional world where she works with people who are 30, 35 and up. And we are not respected at all. But because of our emotional sensitivity, our emotional intelligence, our awareness of ego and self brings us to the forefront above anyone with 20 years of work experience. If you can talk to people, if you can relate to people, if you know yourself and your flaws and your strengths, you can go above and beyond. I'm not saying we're better. I'm just saying we're different. And how we're different can bring something better to our community. And that's one of the reasons why I don't only teach yoga, but I do yoga. Because I feel like I'm tapping in to something that people, my peers now as a yoga instructor who are all older than me, it brings something different. Or just talking to my older folks. I'm a chair yoga instructor. No one in that class is below the age of 55, I'll tell you that. If not, I'm sure they're 65 and older. And I'll never forget the first time someone taking my class, I walked in and the first thing he said to me was not, "Hi, how's your day? What's your name? Are you new here?" It was, "Are you old enough to be teaching this class?" I'm not even joking. And, of course, kill him with kindness. But then I was able to show him. In that 45 minutes, although I'm a millennial, although I'm young and was raised differently with no grit or whatever, that I'm educated in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want your yoga practice to be as fulfilling as it can be. You really, you can get there, and I hope this video helps you do that. I think I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna edit this video. I'm gonna drink some more wine. I don't really know if I was just rambling about my life and the fact that I've been thinking on this for so long and everything I wanted to say, and then of course I come on here and finally say it, but I'm tipsy off of some wine. I couldn't have just had enough data for the freaking outro. God. Alright guys, so I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna go do things in my life. I finished all my homework for the weekend. I'm literally gonna burn some incense. I'm gonna read my tarot. I'm gonna charge my crystals. I'm gonna take a bath. I hate baths, but I can tell I really need one. And I'm just gonna cleanse. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Happy Friday. If you're like me and this usually isn't your weekend, then happy work week. You totally got this. You're following your dreams and everything you wanted to do. And I'm just so proud of all of you. Tell a friend that I'm here. Because like I said, not to toot my own horn, I do know what I'm talking about, kind of, for someone who's 23. And I love hearing experiences, sharing stories, swapping knowledge. Sorry, I'm having way too much fun by myself. For real. I don't know, subscribe, like this video, tell me something you want me to talk about. Start a conversation down below. I have 4 subscribers. I'll actually respond. I will. I'll try. You guys know how busy my life is. Thank you so much for listening to me rant all the time. I love you. Peace.